Jill Pietroburgo. Welcome to the Homilist Podcast, my friend.
Hello.
It's
Thank you
nice.
for having me.
It's nice to see you.
Good to see you.
So, Jill, here's the cool part. You are the first woman on the Homilist Podcast.
Oh my gosh. You mentioned that to me. I can't believe it. I can't believe I'm the first,
Yeah,
but
you're the first.
hopefully I'm just paving the way.
That's exactly right. That's exactly right. You're going through the glass ceiling. Isn't that what they call it? The glass ceiling? I think that was a Hillary Clinton thing. I think that was the
Oh,
coming through the glass ceiling. So Jill, here's what's cool. So most of the time it's talking to preachers, storytellers. I've talked to Navy SEALs and a bunch of different guys about a bunch of different topics.
yeah.
But like you have got so many cool things going on and you're involved in so many cool things that I think this is a wonderful conversation. And I think that's some of the stuff that you do and that you've been involved in, I think needs a little bit of airtime so that people can get on board.
Yeah.
So let me start by letting people know the first time I met you was when I was working on my book that I finally decided I'm going to sit down and I'm going to really, really write. And I started looking for a place to go where I could get away from everybody else. I could turn my phone off. I could get away from anyone that I knew and I could sit down and I could just write. So I started looking for Airbnbs and I stumbled up on this 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 place called West Plains, Missouri that I had never heard of. And I found this little website and a Facebook page, Eagles Wings Ministry,
Okay.
and
Yeah.
that's you and your husband Phil, right?
Yes.
All right. So tell us about Eagles Wings Ministry.
So it's a little cottage in our town. And it was a vision we really felt like God led us to, like 20 26 years earlier than that, but we never really we weren't living in West Plains at that time or anything. And we did look at places and we were just kind of trusting God to kind of fulfill this, but it took a long time before we actually ever bought this property. And so at the property, we now like host people. They do pay very minimal amount, like pastors and missionaries. And we have people from all over the world that have come. We've had it for probably 6 or 7 years. I've kind of lost the date. But the other thing is we actually let people in the community also use it because we charge them more. And that's how we help to defer the cost on other people staying. But we just had a heart. We just felt like God was really calling us to offer places because, pastors and missionaries, people in church work, they're always serving and it's hard to get away. And like you're just saying, like I wanted to find a place with no cell phones and I could disconnect and sometimes like I know Phil and I both experienced that. Like sometimes even if it was just a night, if you could just even get away for a night and you could just your brain would just reset, just having time to talk and pray and those kind of things. And so we wanted to be able to offer that because you guys are like ministering, it's not just about you. You got to be healthy to be able to
Right.
minister to all these other people
Right.
and then they minister to other people. And so if you're unhealthy, then all the work you're doing is not going to be what God really desires. So that's really the heart of it. I said a long
Well,
bunch of stuff, but
it was it
that's the
was
heart of it.
it was such
Mm.
a cool thing to find. And then when I reached out to you guys and I came over, I was now and
We
now
didn't
and
know if we were going to get you out of there, honestly. Like you kept coming back.
that's
Oh,
true.
Jared's calling again.
Jared's moving back in again for another week.
Yeah.
So yeah, I did. I think I spent 2 weeks there. Um, and it was such a great time for me, um, because it was away from home. It was away from my normal schedule, my busyness, and my
Yeah, and it was so fun because you, like, invited us over,
yeah.
and it was like we got to hang, it was like this you were like, "This is my house, come on over," and, it was just so
Yeah,
fun because we never get to hang out, you know
yeah,
what I mean?
right.
Like, we don't get to hang out, we're always just cleaning, and
Yeah.
so
Well,
that was fun.
I just remember, being over there, and then me and you had chatted on the phone for a second about, just what I was up to, and where I'd come from,
Yeah.
and then when you and Phil came by the house, instantly I was like, these are salt of the earth people. Like, these are just salt of the earth people who they care about the right things. And
Mhm.
like what you're talking about, when you care about people who are in ministry, you do that because you've obviously felt that pull somewhere in your life as well. You've obviously felt that deficit too, where you've been overran, you've been overextended, and you need to recoup. You need to
Yeah.
find a quiet place, and that place is so incredible. Now, I'm a weirdo. I'm a weirdo about like architecture, and so when I pull up and I see this house does not belong in West Plains, Missouri, does it?
No, it's like a Nantucket style, Cape Cod
Yeah.
type house, so, and we love that about it. In fact, our one of our visions is to go to, that area and enjoy some of that, but we haven't done it yet, but
It is
we were gonna do
so
that on our honeymoon, but that didn't we didn't end up there, but
you're gonna have to get on you're gonna have to get on to Phil. Tell him, like, listen, this is
yeah,
long overdue, Phil. It's time.
yeah,
Um, so
exactly.
well, the
Mm.
house is so cool. And as soon as I got there, I'm instantly taking pictures,
Mm.
taking videos, and I'm sending it back to my
Oh,
family. I'm like,
yeah.
you've got to see this place. It is so wild. Like, it does not belong in West Plains, Missouri. Like, there's like next door or a block over, it looks like normal Missouri. And then
Yeah.
in this spot right here, I'm like, this is a Nantucket cottage. Like, I mean, down to the shingles, down to, I mean, everything, that's the fence, the colors. I
Yeah.
mean, there were so many cool things about it.
And
It was
I studied that, like, I looked at the colors, and honestly, there's very few colors I actually changed in the house, and
mm,
so I don't know how because this was an older woman who had this built, and it's not the house isn't that old, it's like, 35 years old or something, but she had Nantucket like, I called that area, like, a paint store. And they had a color swatch of all the different colors that would be
wow.
historical to that era, and they were, like, in the house, so, like, I don't know how she it's not like she had a computer back then,
Yeah, right.
like, or knew how to do that, but
Wow.
yeah, so it's pretty amazing, like,
Okay.
and I
So
so I just we just painted over them,
yeah, so there's a book on the fireplace mantle.
Yeah, so that was her book, and the when so we bought the house at an auction, and the auctioneer said, "This is a book that this woman had, Leela Strickland was her name, and this goes with your house." And I'm like, "I'm setting that on the mantle, no," like, "This is the book,"
Yeah,
and so
yeah.
but it's all black and white, so I thought, "Oh, this is where she found
Oh,
the
that's
colors,"
good. Yeah.
but
Yeah, that's
no, it's
good.
all black and white,
Yeah.
but
No, and it was cool. And both times I was there, I thumbed through the book, and you can just, I mean, you just see it.
yeah.
Anyway, it's just incredible. And so what's cool to me is it feels like a place that's, it feels like even a different place than just getting away. Like, I got away to Missouri, but I got away to other places than Missouri when I got to this house, because
Yeah.
it's like, this is really cool. Now you
I'm
do,
glad you said that though, because I feel like I wonder about that, because like I said, I don't ever stay there. So
yeah,
I wonder, I have a little book people sign at the end and it's always positive, but that's always been our prayer is
yeah,
that people would feel like, they are away, even though there's cars that could come by or,
mhm,
there's houses next door. But
yeah.
yeah, so thank you
And
for,
there's no internet access.
yeah, no internet.
Yeah, which makes it even better. I mean, it was just like, this
Yeah.
is I'm
And
not stuck.
I tell people, because they'll ask, and I just said, well, I know that can be a problem, and here's the coffee shop down the street, or here's McDonald's,
Yeah, the library's
um,
right down the road.
there. I bet you'll be thanking me, like at
Yeah,
the end, because you'll
yeah,
be
yeah.
spending more time doing something else
Yeah,
and praying.
you can watch YouTube at home.
Yeah,
You know, you
exactly.
don't have to come to West Plains, Missouri to watch YouTube. Yeah. So no,
Right.
but it was great. And so when we got to sit down and visit, I think the first time you guys came over and we hung out for quite a while. Then the second time I
Yeah, I
came
think
back,
you were getting ready. You were kind of like, okay, guys. I'm like,
no way.
you're
No
just
way.
so fun to talk to. Like, it's hard to leave you.
Well,
Like, it's like,
I
oh my gosh.
appreciate that. Well,
Mm.
what's kind of funny. What I did is I tried to find a place where I didn't know anybody, and the first thing I did as soon as I got there is I started trying to make as many friends as I possibly could. So
Yeah.
I'm starting to see the problem is me. The problem's not, it's not like,
Yeah.
well, there's so many people who want to talk to me. I feel I'm probably the one that antagonizes most of that. Yeah, I instigate. So. But the first time I came, you guys came over and we hung out at my house, what I referred to my family as my West Plains house. Um, and and then the second time I came back, you guys invited me over. And so I went
Yeah.
to go stay, and then I came to your place, I believe it was actually Grace and her husband's
Yeah.
place. Yeah,
Yeah.
and we ate dinner and hung out and everything else. So
Yeah.
it was excellent. So yeah, so I mean it was so much fun. In the process of those conversations, though, you were asking about the work that I was doing. That why West Plains? Why was I here? Why was I trying to
Yeah.
and I told you I was working on this book, which, by the way, um, yours, like, I'm not gonna get mine out as soon, but should be here within the next month. Mine should be out. So I'm really looking forward to
With the music?
with the music and everything.
Oh,
Isn't that
awesome.
great? So
I
we
love it.
started
I
talking.
can't wait.
We started talking about that, and then
Yeah.
you said, well, you know what? I've got a thought. I've got an idea. It's actually a poem, and it's it's about my mother with Alzheimer's, and I I think maybe it would make a really cool children's book. And so you shared it with me, and incredibly moving. And I'm not somebody who knows a lot of children's books. I mean, I'm vaguely familiar. My wife's an elementary school teacher, and so there's tons of that around my house. I've seen a bunch of those.
Yeah.
But yours was really, really moving, really, really moving. And you started working on writing your book. And so
Well,
what?
you're the reason my book is finished, honestly, because I don't really remember that. Now that you're saying that, I kind of remember maybe I did share the script with you, like,
Yeah,
or the story.
yeah.
But what I remember is I got stuck and I lost my illustrator.
Hmm.
And so some reason I was thinking about you and your book, and I reached out to you, and you're like, "Well, how's your book?" And I'm like, "Hey, my illustrator has a family. She just got too busy. She's just not going to be able to carry on." And I just didn't know where to go. And you were just like, "Oh, use Upwork, call them, put your stuff on there, like." And so I was like, "What?
Yeah.
Really?"
Yeah, yeah,
Like, and so you're the only reason, like, I even knew what to do next.
yeah.
And I just did it. I just trusted you. And I'm like, okay. And I just
Wow. And
said,
it worked
here's what
out.
I want to pay, and here's what I'm looking for. And yeah. Oh my gosh. Like, I loved her so much. She's just a young girl from Canada. Like, she's like 19. Maybe she had a birthday, maybe she's 20 now, but she was awesome. And we spent so much time zooming and just sharing pictures. I mean, just way more time than probably,
Mm,
somebody this was her first book. So somebody who's like 50 books down, they don't want to spend that much time with me. But we're
right.
both learning and growing and making decisions together. I feel like it's just as much her book as mine. And she
Yeah.
loved my family as much as I, because she
Yeah.
wanted it to be beautiful.
Yeah.
And so it was just a God thing. But I feel like you took me there,
Oh man.
honestly. I
Well,
don't know if I ever told you that,
wow. That's
but
cool. But I'm telling you,
yeah.
there's so many talented people out there who,
Mm.
and the internet, I mean, the internet, especially, Upwork's platform, really makes the world a lot smaller place. And I had written tons of stuff. I'd used Upwork as a platform to do freelance writing and all kinds of stuff for years. And
Okay.
it was excellent. And it was really cool because when you find somebody who, and I know this from the other side, from like your illustrator side, when somebody reaches out and you see something, you go, oh my goodness, like I would dive straight into this. This would be, and you really do. You put heart and soul into it because you want it to be good, and you
Yeah.
want to succeed at writing, and you want to succeed or illustrating or design or whatever it is that you're doing. That platform was great. And then um at one point you sent me a text message and you were showing me the images that this gal had put together
Yeah.
and the way she'd illustrated the book. And I think I remember you saying that you had shared a whole lot of pictures of your family with them, correct?
Yeah, she wanted a lot of images, and so I would take, feel like I'm taking ton, and then she'd say, "Well, can you take some more this way?" Or, so she was just very detailed. Like, she drew the vase on my mantle, like, or a picture of a picture that's hanging on my wall, like, very
Wow.
detailed of her images and things like that. So I was just amazed. Like, I can't draw a stick man,
Yeah.
so like I would love to have that gift, but
Yeah.
so it's amazing to me when people can, and that she cared that much,
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
make it so beautiful. But
Well,
and
and
we still talk. Like, she's just
yeah.
like, "How's things going?" And I'll message her back, and so
Yeah.
she's pretty amazing.
Yeah, so tell us about the book, because it's an angle I would have never ever ever expected to see a children's book go. And then, but
Mm,
but listen, when I can't remember if you read it to me or if you sent it to me and I read it,
mm.
instantly I was like, Jill, this is so good. Like, this is such a good, it's such a good
Yeah,
story. So tell us
thank
about the
you.
book.
Well, it's actually a very simple book in a lot of ways, but I wrote it that way. And let me just say, I shouldn't say I wrote it. I wasn't thinking about writing a book. Like, that was never like, oh, I'm gonna write a book. It was like I woke up one morning and all these words
Mm.
were coming in my head, and I just like, oh my gosh. And so I just started kind of writing them down, and then I just kind of started praying over it, like, Lord, what am I doing with this? Like, is this just words on a paper for me? Something I need,
Sure.
and I just felt like, he was just calling me to obedience. And so, you know, the end is now I have the book, but so I just kept walking, even though I didn't know any steps of the journey. Like, I had no idea.
Yeah.
And so every step was like, felt momentous, like,
Yeah.
oh my gosh, like, this is so hard. Now, could I do it again a second time a little easier? Yes. But
Yeah.
like, that first time, you just don't know anything,
Yeah, you're on the
and
moon.
so
You're on the moon,
yeah,
right?
you don't know. And so it's just a lot of research, a lot of watching YouTube videos and other people, trying to tell you what to do. But so I just took that, and I began, you helped me. We kind of went through that, helping me find Heidi and to illustrate. But the story is, I just had a heart for families who are in that sandwich generation where they kind of caring for their family, but also now their own parents are needing a lot of care. And so parents can, as the daughter, but it can be a son, like, you find yourself, how do I do this?
Mm.
How am I going to do this? Because for us, in we had a lot of other kind of family needs that I don't have permission to go into, but there was just a lot of things going on. And then the needs of my mom, and so it's just a very difficult time. And how do you walk through that? And how do you find resources for that?
Yeah.
Who's telling you what to do here? And so the story really is written for more of a younger child, because there are books for people to read to their child about dementia, but they tend to be a little more detailed and, talking a little bit more than I wanted. I felt like there needed to be something more for that preschool type
Mm.
age,
Mhm.
like 3 to 8 year old,
Yeah.
where you just begin to have the conversation, and you just begin to introduce the topic of, you know, maybe something might be going on with grandma. And literally, I think there's only one line in the whole book about dementia. So the story's really just about this little girl just loving her grandma. But her grandma did have to go to a care home, and but the pictures are just showing all the ways, and it changes seasons throughout every picture. There's like different seasons going on. So
Wow.
grandma's changing, the seasons are changing, and it goes from a year to year. So it's spring to spring, and by the time you can see grandma's hair changing colors, and
Mhm.
Grace might get a little bit taller, and just all the different things going on. But each image is just, showing a simple, loving way
Yeah. Give us the
to
title.
love. Oh, it's called Sometimes Grandma Calls Me Jean. And that title is because my mom actually would, her sister's name was Jean, who just passed away. But my mom, when she would be mad at me, would not come up with my name, and she called me Jean. So, so I don't know if that was a perfect title, but that's just what God gave me. I just could
It's a
not get that out of my head.
it's a perfect title. It's a perfect title.
Um,
And
but
your daughter, yeah, let's
here
see it.
I got a story of the book, but there's the title.
And
And
your
then
daughter,
these are my dogs. I don't know if we want to get into this, but my dog Rocky passed away.
oh, got you.
But he's still, but I can show you an image or two in here.
And so your
Um,
daughter's name is Grace.
yes, my daughter's Grace. Yeah.
Yeah.
So so I'll show you like the first and last page so you can see how it changes.
Mm.
But this is the first page. And then at the end, so that's like in springtime. And then at the end, it's the same picture, but now grandma's,
Mm.
in the wheelchair, um, and
Wow.
all those things did happen to my mom. Like, she was able to walk, she was able to do lots of things, but over time, she went from the cane to the walker, and now she's at the wheelchair stage. Her mobility is very poor. We're still able to get her into our van, which is awesome because I take her home every day. And she comes out and she eats dinner with us. And, we enjoy family time, and then we take her back. But, there is going to be a day where she's not able to lift her foot anymore. Or we're not able to get her
Yeah.
safely into the van.
Yeah.
But as long as she can, we're still hoping to do that. But, you know, and then in the back of the book, I should mention that there's like 20 ideas for families, for parents to help support their child through the journey
Mm.
of having a loved one with dementia. And, some of those are just like, let's memorize some Bible verses, let's keep a journal of the positive things grandma can do, or grandpa or whatever. Because I think we can tend to, people get trapped into thinking about, she can't, he
Mm.
can't remember my name. She can't, tie her shoe. She can't, you know, do all these things and we can get stuck in there of all the can'ts. But what I've found is it's the moments. We have to celebrate the moments of what they can do. And there's so many things that they really can do. Like, the other day I posted a picture of I took my mom to Sonic and she's been having trouble like remembering how to drink from a straw. And that day she remembered how to drink the lemonade from the straw I brought her. And I was so excited, like, oh, she's drinking the lemonade. Like, and that sounds silly, but it's like the moments,
Yeah.
we have to celebrate the moments that they can still do. And there's lots of things we can do with them. Like, people say, well, I don't visit that person with dementia anymore, whoever it would be, because they don't even remember I'm there, or
Right.
they'll forget I ever came.
Hmm.
But I just don't feel like we don't really know, and I feel like they do remember. And I feel like, are you gonna tell me, like, just holding someone's hands not comforting? You know, I'll just on the car rides home, I just massage my mom's hands and you can just feel her relaxed. And, we play gospel music all the time because that's her favorite. And there's just so many ways that you can still interact through the senses.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, she can't play the Parcheesi game she loved anymore. I actually do have a video of her though. We put dice in her hand and she still rolled the dice. Like, we were all like, whoa,
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
incredible. So
Well,
yeah,
there's something to that process that is cathartic to the people who are caring for someone with dementia
yeah,
as well, right? Because there's an element of you that forces you into those places, like you said, to celebrate moments to where you have to. It's no longer the telescope. Now it's the microscope. You have to
right.
zoom in. You have to zoom in on these small little things, and that's what you do when you raise children. You do the same thing when you raise
Hmm.
children. You don't look at your child and you be like, you know what, this kid can't do anything. This kid is such a. You celebrate these little bitty things,
Yeah,
and there's an element that it brings some humanity back to you as well when you get to serve in those places, because they're small things. And to me, this is what part of it is for me, and I'm not great at this, but for me it's those moments where I get to do something that that does not get a reward, does not get an instant reward, does not get a any sort of immediate gratification from. Like, you get your humanity back in these moments that you get to serve like this. And
right.
I think that's really cool.
I
So
think we
it
have to remember too that, the person didn't choose.
Yeah.
Nobody chooses
Yeah.
to have dementia. So they're not, try everybody's situation so different. You can't just say this is what it exactly looks like. We definitely had very difficult times. When it at the pit, when we were in the pit, my mom was hallucinating, hitting us, wouldn't eat, um, would hear evil people talking to her, telling her we were poisoning her, believe she could talk to people through the air vents. Like, I've been there. Like, I know the worst parts. I don't want to come across like oh, just love them and rub their hand. Like,
Right.
like, I've been
Yeah.
there. So I know the hard part too.
Yeah.
And I have a deep compassion for that because I know how challenging it is. And, um, you know, and trying to find ways to cope and dealing with, like I said, just other things going on in our family because, yes, you have your mother or your dad or whoever you're taking care of, but you also have the other needs, the life, your job, just living to try to figure out as well. And so it's definitely a difficult time for
Yeah.
people.
What did your children say about this book? when they saw it come in full color, and how did they respond?
Yeah, they're excited. I mean, for me, as it was really like a lot of therapy,
Yeah,
you know, for me. And in that pit that I just mentioned, like my coping started like I have to get words down. Like that's just always, even as a kid, that's how I
yeah,
expressed myself was paper, like and just writing. And I wrote poetries and songs as young as like 9 years old. I just like had to get it all out. And so I didn't have a journal, I didn't have anything. And I was even, I was at a conference with some women. We had gone to an educational conference in Lake of the Ozarks, and we went to a bookstore, and I'm like, I got to find a journal. Like, I've got to, like, I felt like I was going to go crazy. And, and probably was crazy, but I was too cheap to buy the one that I saw because it was like $25 or something, you know, insane. So I'm just like, I'm just going to do a WordPress. Like, I don't want people to read this. I just need something where I can just, in that way, I could just write on the computer too.
yeah,
Like, you know, that's going to be easier. So I just started writing there and getting words out. And so definitely journaling for me, that could be a coping thing for other people as
yeah,
well.
yeah.
But definitely for
There
me,
was
that
something
was.
else. There was something else in the back of the book. Um, I wanted to ask you about. You've got several faces, and it says, "How am I feeling?" Can you
Oh, yeah. So well, my job is I work in early childhood special education. So that's probably why I geared my book towards, you know, younger audience, because that's what I'm most familiar with and love. And I love my job. But in the back of the book, um, there is these emotions. And I did that because, you know, children are going to have very different emotions because grandma or grandpa or whoever the loved one is with dementia, they are different almost every time you see them. You know, things my mom can do today, she couldn't do yesterday, you know, or, you know, when I go see her this afternoon, like she will probably be doing something she didn't do the day before.
Mm,
It's just weird. It's weird how sometimes she can hear or sometimes she can walk a little better or she can't. And so that's going to affect your child and how they're relating and how they're feeling. And I work with a lot of kids who don't have words. Some of my kids don't even aren't saying words yet, even at 3 or 4 or 5. And so I really wanted to make this an inclusive book, not just for you know, your typical child, but a child who might need to point to a picture and say, you know, this is how I felt today seeing
mm,
grandma.
mm.
Um, and
Wow.
then that's why journaling or, you know, putting those, you know, obviously they would need your help, but just keeping a little journal or things that you loved about the visit, you know, things that you could look back on or prayers you said with your child. Those are just great ways to put in a little journal book. But that's what this is about, just
See.
being able to a child to be able to really communicate with you. And sometimes they don't, you know, at that age they don't know, but they can see, you know, kids in this era, they're used to emojis and all these things. And so that's kind of how they communicate now, being able
Yeah.
to see those visuals
Yeah.
for
That's
sure.
excellent.
I even have one for my mom, like not that, but I have visual cards for her at, so it shows, you know, like they can show her like it's time for bed or it's time to get dressed or we're going to go eat, you know. So I've made those for her too.
Yeah. I've got the I've got the the PDF of your book pulled.
Oh, you're looking at it.
Well, yeah, pulled
Mhm.
up beside, and there's just so many incredible, just so many incredible lines, and there's so much to absorb just in the pictures as well. Uh, I would have never thought that a book on dementia, as a children's book, would have would have been something that would have moved me like it did. But I can't even tell. I can't even tell you how many times I've said, listen, there's this lady, I know this lady who wrote this book on, and it's one of the sweetest stories in the world. And then when I give the title, without even having to tell them anything else about it, I give them the title and they go, oh my goodness. Oh, that's so good. That's so good. So great work on that. That was awesome. And Heidi did awesome. And
Yes.
knowing some of your family members and seeing them in the book is pretty cool too. That's
Yeah.
a that's awesome. Well, congratulations on that. You the book is out. The book is available.
It is on pre-order right
Okay.
now. So, but if somebody's interested, like this is a really great time to go ahead and buy it because it, kind of tells Amazon that, hey,
Yeah,
people
people
are
are
buying
interested.
her book
Yeah,
and
right.
so it kind of helps boost me up. But it goes live on September 6th on Amazon.
Okay.
And so actually that day, I plan to celebrate that at the nursing home. And so we're going to have a big party with all the people and
Yeah.
they're going to pay for cookies. So forget me not flowers are the kind of the dementia flower. And so I'm having this guy make 100 forget me not cookies and we're going to have some live music and I'm going to read the story to everybody. And I had Scott Heidi was a man here in town who helped me do all my formatting and he made me this big book. So not just this little book, but
Oh
this
wow.
big book where when I go to the libraries and when I read it to the people at, Brookhaven Healthcare, then I can read from the big book. And so they can really see it, So
That's awesome.
I'm pumped about that. That's going to be really fun. So
That's
yeah, we're going to
awesome.
have a party
uh,
on September 6th.
yeah, that is really cool. 10% of the profits of this book provide assistance to others who have loved ones with dementia. Um,
Yep.
this is a really cool thing. Is the is there plans? Are there plans for you to do some more writing?
I so long time ago when my first child was born, I wrote. So I'm also, I don't even know if you knew this about me, but I got trained in what they used to call infant massage or child massage therapy. And so that's probably why I was talking about touch because I've studied that. I know the importance of that for people. And I would like to so I wrote a book back then, but I can see ways to integrate it with what I've already kind of started here.
Mm.
And so I have a heart to maybe think about doing that. It's kind of overwhelming right now with
Sure it is.
just trying to launch a book and I've scheduled all these uh, fairs and things that I'm going to sit out and meet people. Like that's the fun part. Like not that not writing the book is fun, but it
Sure.
was all like climbing a mountain,
Yeah.
you know. And you've been there, so you
Yeah.
know what it's like. It's like I don't know what I'm doing. I'm just gonna keep
Yeah.
hoping I hold on, And so now's the fun part of like going out and you sell your book and somebody's walking away with it and you've got to hear their story and it's like
Yeah.
it's amazing to think that you're helping, you're just praying over that like Lord, I hope this
Yep.
helps them, and this was your design, like this real I'm just a vessel really, like
Yeah.
I'm just a vessel and he's just using it, so it's just fun to see who he brings to
It's so
that.
cool.
But
It's so cool. Well, I'm so proud of you for this. I'm so proud of you for working on it and because I know that it's a trudging process. I was talking to somebody about it one day and I was telling them that I was like this, like I'm so worn out. Like it's so daunting. It's just so
yeah,
daunting of And I know there's other people that they just crank out books, and
Yeah, I don't know how
that
they do that.
no, I
Like, I
don't
don't
either.
know.
I don't know how they do it either. But they're just great at it. But for me, like that process was just, and even still, like now, like we are weeks away from being done, and
Yeah,
with everything we need to do, and it's just like so daunting to look at and go,
yeah,
what a you're just trudging through trying to figure out um how does this need to look, how does it need to be formatted, how does it need to sound, what is it, um
yeah.
and so I'm proud of you. I say that to say I'm proud of you, because that is a tough process. That's a tough process of dedicating
I
yourself
was
to
just
something.
determined. I've just found, just like eagle's wings or whatever. I just found like, you know, are we going to believe the Bible or
There you
not
go.
believe the Bible? He
Yeah.
calls us to be obedient, and so I just felt like he was calling me to be obedient. I don't know what the end is.
Yeah.
I don't, and somebody once said, "I hope your book's successful." And I was like, "Oh, I s- I said it's already been successful." Like,
Right.
I feel like it already has, because even in the process, God was already bringing people to me to talk to them,
Yeah.
or they would find my little Facebook See Me Beautiful page and they would join it and comment on things. And guess what? They came to the support group
Mm.
that I shared, and so I wouldn't have been doing those things at all had God not led me to start this book. So I feel like if that's all it is, it's already been successful,
Mm.
and
Yeah.
so um
Yeah.
just we're just vessels and we're just
Yeah. That
being
process.
obedient.
Yeah, that process of, and that's very much where I landed with. By the time I'd finished the manuscript, um I sat back and I was just like, I can't believe I wrote 60,000, almost 70,000 words um on
You
this.
better go to the children's version next time. That's
Exactly.
less words.
It's a whole lot easier, or is a whole lot harder. I don't know.
No, it's probably harder, but
uh but I'm telling you, I mean, it's like I was just so the same conversation. Like as soon as it turned into a conversation about money, or a conversation about how much is it going to make, it almost felt like it was starting to cheapen
oh,
the,
yeah.
how much skin you have in the game. Like you've so much of yourself is poured into something like this. So I know there's other
Yeah.
people they've they crank these things out, and they're just great at it. And to those people, I'm whatever. I'm not talking to you, because that's crazy. That's just crazy. I don't have those. I don't have those gifts and abilities. So your husband is a pastor at a church, correct?
Yes, he's a children's pastor.
Hmm.
He used to be a principal and at a little town here called Willow Springs, and he was there 10 years and retired right before COVID. So that would have been rough. But and then became our children's pastor at First
Gotcha.
Baptist Church
Gotcha.
here, and he loves that too. And
And you still
they
work
call
for
him Mr. P. So I'm Mrs. P.
Mrs. P and
So see,
Mr.
you
P?
didn't need to say my name because
Oh,
you could have just said
Pietroburgo.
Mrs.
Yeah.
Mrs. P.
That's right.
But
Well, I should have stuck with them. So,
And it's funny,
um,
the kids will go, "You're a Mrs. P?" Like, like he's famous.
he's famous. Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah. Do you look at him and
Mhm.
say, does he have a children's book out? I don't think so. Like
Yeah. I'm
I'm
like,
the
"When are you gonna do the work? When are
that's
you
right.
gonna be
That's right.
obedient?"
You should be amazed. He's Mr. P is what you should be amazed at. Hey,
Yeah.
listen, I was walking through church one day, and I said to somebody, I can't remember how the conversation happened. Oh, I was gone a week. It was when I was out with you guys in West Plains. And they said, "Where were you?" And I said, I was in West Plains, Missouri. And this guy looked at me and he goes, "Oh, the home of the Zizzers."
Oh, yeah.
I was like, first off,
If you're a zizzer, you're a winner.
oh my goodness gracious, the Zizzers. Listen, when I drove by the school and it said home of the Zizzers, and then it had lightning bolts on it. I thought I was driving by like a tech company. Like I didn't know what I was driving.
Oh, yeah.
I was like, what is this? I don't even know what this is. So I had to go look it up. And so then I started asking people as a trivia question, hey, West Plains, Missouri, do you know what their school mascot is? And they were like,
And I knew.
no, no one's known. I mean,
Oh,
one guy knew, and they were like, oh yeah, the home of the Zizzers. And other people have like, what is it? And I said, the Zizzers. And then of course the next question is, what is a Zizzer? And so we had a good laugh
yeah.
about this because what is a Zizzer? You tell me, what is a Zizzer?
I think usually they'll say a winner.
Mm-hmm.
You know, some of their motto is, you know, we're people who work hard, we strive for excellence. You know, like our cross country teams won state multiple times, and that's usually what people will refer to. But
Let's see.
you know, other sports too. But
Yeah. Well,
yeah,
so I go look it up and I'm like, what is a Zizzer? And so here's where West Plains might win the award for choosing the best mascot. Because
okay,
according to the dictionary, a Zizzer is somebody who's
we're in the actual dictionary.
oh, absolutely. You're in the dictionary. The Zizzers are in the dictionary because it's an
Okay,
old term referring to somebody who is not only competent, but very proficient in almost
yeah,
every category of life. And I thought, come on, West Plains, really? Like you're going to pick it's one thing to be a wildcat. It's one thing to be, a bulldog, but we are excellent at everything we do. I was like, West Plains, you need to calm down just a little bit. You're just a little out of control
that's
with your
awesome.
Zizzers. So yeah, that was pretty cool.
And
But
I'm an alumni
yeah.
visitor. So yeah.
Wow. So you grew up there.
Till I came here when I was in first grade.
Wow.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
now do you teach there?
So yes, I work for the school district.
Okay. Gotcha.
Yeah, in
Excellent.
that early childhood.
Yeah. Right. Excellent. Wow. Well, I'm so proud of the work you've done. I'm so proud of what you've put together with the book, and very very thankful to you and Phil for Eagles Wings Ministry. It was great. And let me tell you, one of my favorite things is the desk and the wooden chair that set
Oh,
in the cottage where I sit down
yeah.
and I spent day after day after day. I mean, hour upon hour upon hour writing
That's a
tons
kind of
and
hard chair.
well, you know what though? It was perfect. And right in front is this chalkboard. And the first time I showed up, it said, welcome, Jared. And then when I came back the next time, it said, welcome.
Leave,
And
Jared.
then
No.
no, then down on the
When are you
welcome,
leaving, Jared?
welcome. Yeah, it said, welcome back, Jared. And I was
Yeah.
just like, oh, this is excellent. So I'm taking pictures of it. I'm sending it to my wife. And it's a wonderful ministry. You guys have done some excellent stuff. Um, do you have a website for your book, a website for any of this stuff?
Um, yeah, the book is just my name, Jill Pietroburgo,
Uh-huh.
.com.
Okay.
And yeah, so I
And
just
so,
made it easy.
okay.
But
So
I guess that's not easy because that's my last name. So
yeah. So people can go there and they can pre-order the book through the website.
I
And
do have a link, yeah,
okay,
to get
excellent.
to Amazon on there. Yeah. And then on that site, and you know how it is, you just run out of money. So I'm like, I gotta figure out how to make my own website.
Yeah,
So it's not professional. It's me
it's
like
fine. Yeah.
hours and hours of trying to figure it out. But on there is a lot more information just about my journey with my mom and a little bit about her life and the things we went through, and then just a little bit more about me, and then my dog Rocky, which I had mentioned that had passed away, so a little bit about his story. So I share about him at my events. He has his own sign, but he died of a condition called bloat, and so I'm like, this dog did not deserve that. I'm going to try to teach other people about this condition so they can catch it.
Huh.
They can catch it before this might happen to their pet. But so he's doing his own thing on the side here of when I'm selling books. But
Awesome.
so yeah, so people, if they go there, they'll just be able to catch some of that. And then there's some resources on there and just ways to contact me and things like that. So
Perfect. Perfect.
Yeah.
How's your family doing?
We're doing okay. Just really busy. Just, the beginning of the year is busy because it's getting ready to start up all our church stuff, and we're still doing camps, and we've got a family camp coming up not too long from now at church, and then, I've just started back to school. So it's just kind of a, revving up kind of
Yeah.
time of year, and you guys probably feel that too, I'm
Yeah.
sure, with your
Yeah.
kids and church, but
Yeah. The only
it's good.
only thing that would make it easier is if you're trying to launch a book at the same time you're getting ready
Yeah,
to go
and
back
then,
to school.
just a little book I'm
Yeah.
putting out.
That's right. Right. Perfect. Well, Jill, thank you so much for joining me on here. I appreciate it.
You're
This is a great
welcome.
conversation. It was great to see you again. Great to talk with you, and we'll catch up again soon.
Thank you, Jared.
All right, I'll talk to you later.
Great.
Bye.
Bye.